That's stupid. What's that losing? All right. Raw U podcast. We didn't know the number. I think it's 28, 29, somewhere in there.
Close to that.
29. So we got special guests. We have the newer guys here today. Myself, Brett Wilkin, if you don't know that, IFBB Pro, and Zach Walpert. So you guys got a quick glimpse of Zach on the last podcast with the content creators. But there's a little background story there. So we want to kind of shoot the shit here today and go over, what kind of brought us here, especially Zach. And then, what's going on this week. We got the Arnold we're going to touch base on maybe a little bit. And just kind of 3 that we're at and what looks ahead for obviously Zach and I, but also the team out here. And just some good time. So how you doing today, Zach?
I'm doing good. It is exciting. We have a huge backstory for getting here and everything that built up to it. And then, we definitely have to touch on the Arnold because, well, it's like the second, if not the first biggest bodybuilding show on the planet, depending on who you are.
And it's blowing up right now too.
Yeah, there's a lot of exciting Instagram posts and whatnot that are coming up. I'm trying to think, where should we start?
Well, that's just the majority of us. So everybody here is pretty much going to be out the Arnold this coming weekend. This will probably come out afterwards, but Dom's handling the business side of things. Yeah. Multiple meetings. Obviously, Chris is going to be involved with that. Chris also has to do, he's doing those big seminar speeches with Hani. So we'll be getting trucked around everywhere as per usual. Vaughn's heading out there to do some business stuff on the Vaughn streets, which are coming soon. When is that exactly? Do you know?
Mid-March, but you guys be excited for that. They're going to be awesome.
Yeah, I'm still over here, Steven Glansberg. I don't get any. I
haven't tried one yet. Yeah, but everybody who tries one, it's funny in our creative group chat we were talking about. Everybody seems they not steal them, but they're gone quick, and there's a secret stash, and it's random people have tried them and some haven't.
Go check all the drawers around.
Yeah, we're gonna have to start scavenging around to see what's up.
No, but Vaughn streets are gonna be, if you don't know yet, they're a Rice Krispie based bar, obviously. They have a little bit of protein in this one as well.
Yep.
But just the taste, what I've heard is there's different flavors, obviously, but just the taste is very good. This has kind of gotten popular over the last couple of years. A lot of people started, I know I did in the past, started eating Rice Krispies pre-workout. A lot of bodybuilders, I think, funded Kellogg. It's Kellogg,
yeah,
right?
Kellogg's.
Kellogg for a while there, because I was eating 2 before every workout, just going through boxes of them. And the purpose of that is it's not like they just got catchy, I think, just because probably a few bodybuilders started doing it, or fitness people started eating before their workout, just because it's just an immediate source of energy, right? So just good, fast digesting carbs. Whenever you ever ate Rice Krispies and been like, I'm full, right?
Never. No.
So it allows you to eat, get carbs in, fast acting carbs to fuel your workouts, but not fill you up too much. And so they really capitalized on this. And I haven't heard any other companies that are doing this more of specifically for kind of the fitness side of things. Yeah. So it's a fun little deal, and I'm excited for Vaughn. I'm excited for Dom, Chris, everybody involved. And so they're really going to be taking off here this next month on that. So they got some meetings on that. Obviously Matt's out there, coaching Sean and Nick Walker. And, that's kind of why I'm going out there is to, I'm going to be at the shows. I was fortunate enough to get some, gold VIP tickets or whatever. So I'll be up close, and then you're going too. So
I'll be up there.
Yeah. And that kind of leads us, we'll come back to this, but the reason, Zach is going, if people don't know this, is Zach is my videographer. So that's kind of where our relationship began. It actually began out in Colorado. What was that, 3 years ago? 2 years ago? Probably 2 now.
I think it was not early 2020, but before a little bit before October 2020, somewhere around there.
Yeah, during the COVID times, we'll call them.
Yeah.
So he actually came over to Armbrust. He was working with Ben Chow at the time. So Zach trains and competes on the besides just working here at Raw and Revive. But he came to me at the gym there in my office because I knew Ben obviously, and Ben wanted me to look at him real quick. So he came in, looked at his physique real quick just to critique it a little bit. And then who would have known it would have got us here today?
Yeah,
right?
I remember. So I went up there for that, obviously the check-in, and then I was going back up there for some other, I think maybe just to train at Armburst, and I reached out on WhatsApp and said, hey, Brett, like, I saw that you, and at the time you were training with Martin, you have a YouTube, if you want any help, I'm not an expert, but I'll try. And then I remember talking to y'all after, and you're like, should we give this kid a chance or like whatnot? Because obviously I was a random kid on the internet. And then, we just started filming some sessions, and then I started coming up, and I would stay at your place, and we would film some more. And I remember one time we went to, what's the name of the restaurant with all the food where we go around the line? You know what I'm talking about?
I actually went there last week. I was there.
While you're there?
I was in Colorado last week. I went to it. It was Edgewater Marketplace.
Yeah.
So it was a place where there's 15 to 20 different vendors of food.
Yep.
It's just a big dining, pretty much like a college dining hall, right? Yeah. So I think we took you out there.
Yeah. We ate a ton.
Yeah. The funny thing about all this is we recently talked about this is, so Zach started, he, like you say, he just introduced himself as hey, I have some experience, right, with the video camera, right? And so at the time, I was looking for just to be able to get more content out there. That's when I was training with Martin Fitzwater, and we were wanted to just document more things, get a YouTube going. But then, more recently, Zach told me that he had never even never done anything in that even close to that before. So he came in winging it. We thought he had some experience, but it turned out, it worked, man. So that's the biggest thing that came from that is he was willing to learn. And I think this is in any aspect and not just in videography. And that's just a testament to Zach in general of if there's an issue at hand or a task at hand, he'll do whatever needs to be done to learn about it and be successful in it, by studying, by doing research. So I know he was, behind the scenes on YouTube, watching other people's YouTube, watching what Calvin does with Chris. I know he did a lot of that. Well, because he'd always be like, yeah, I watched this YouTuber last night and stuff. And so it was more so he taught himself. And I think that a lot of people kind of lose that now and today is we're handed so many things, or overall just the population in general is just lazy. And so that's what I can't say enough about Zach and what he's been able to accomplish these last, like I said, 2.5 years or, going on 3 now to get him here. And it just all started. He's just hey, I have a video camera. Let's see what we can do with it. Yeah. That's what it was. And then, what we saw after that, that was back when we had the YouTube. It was the Mile High Monsters. It was me and Martin and I training. But every single thing we post, so we post once a week, we just saw everything you're doing, your creativity, your, the content in general, right? The episodes, just we saw you blossom, right? Yeah. And, and that was just because of the hard work you were putting in behind the scenes. And at the time, I was still focused on prep and stuff. I wasn't even really thinking about it. I kind of thought you already had a background on it, but really it was just we were watching you build it, you're screw taking any classes. I'm just going to teach myself. So yeah. That's one attribute of I think that's overlooked a lot. And you bring something to the table that not a lot of people have, right?
Yeah, no. And it's interesting you say that. Nowadays it's not as common to want to try that, because you see Instagram or YouTube, you can go on there and find a master class from some expert in the thing, in whatever realm it is. Bodybuilding, it could be media, it could be investing in stocks. I'm sure everybody on Instagram has had the one person that's a Forex trader expert that DMs you or comments on your photo I'm going to make you $10,000 with $100 or whatnot. And it's so interesting to me because I think everyone is searching for something in those courses that's going to make them Calvin, or, it's going to make them you in bodybuilding with just this one tip. Hey, if you do this, right, then you're going to get where you want to be, or you're going to get where I am, which is where you in your head think you want to be. Instead of hey, this tip might be you have to dig deeper in every aspect of what you're trying to learn so that you can actually be making progress and getting better. And then obviously to me, it was I think honestly, I was scared when I started, because I'm okay, I've now told them that I have some background, which I did very small. It was honestly in high school, there was a program called work-based learning. And basically if you took enough classes in a certain extracurricular area, whether it be gym, whether it be marketing classes, computer classes, health classes, you could go have a internship during certain periods of the day, basically to replace classes in that area. So for me, I reached out to the guy who had been training me for forever at the hometown gym. It's hey, I have marketing. I can bring my camera up here and do a little bit of stuff for you. Like I didn't know much, but really what it was I could go train with them in the middle of the day, which is what we both wanted anyway. And so I started doing that, but then I was shooting content. So that's kind of how I got the start there. Like had a camera just because I was like, oh, I can get, instead of wasting time in PE class, I can go train. And so that's how I started. And then, yeah, proposing it to you guys, I'm like, okay, they're giving me the chance. Like I have to make this, like, I don't want to squander this chance. So yeah, it was just YouTube, just learn on YouTube University. I mean, Grant's sitting right here and he could tell you the same thing. I mean, 90% of the stuff we learn on Premiere with a camera comes from YouTube. And that's just time, right? Same way it is with you in bodybuilding is you don't magically get an inch on your arms. It takes time of learning what works, how to learn what works, how to adjust it, and how to like make sure that you're progressing in those aspects to get better.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, and that's the cool thing for me too, is I get to watch it. Like I'm filming exactly what we're talking about. You're doing the exact same thing in your area. You know, like you day by day with the food, it's funny, anytime I talk about the food or talk about like going up to film you, it's always the same thing. Every single morning it was like you're a robot. Like I would maybe be sitting on the couch in the morning, or I'd walk out of my room and you're walking in there to make your oat shake with your blueberries and your egg whites and stuff. And we're heading to the gym. You're doing your cardio. You drink it after that. You got your disgusting green slush shake to take your pills with. But it's like, it's monotony, but it's the consistency and the repetition that I think makes you who you are. Yeah. Just like it can make other people what they want to be.
Yeah. And I think that's the most interesting thing about all this is like, what kind of now look what you do. You've done clinical work, right? You do a lot of things with labels. Obviously you're still doing, bodybuilding side of things with me, the fitness part, but you're so much more expanded now. But what I always was even saying when we first started out and when you were learning was like, you started doing this, you started filming us and you're learning because you enjoyed the bodybuilding side of things, right? So you actually enjoyed because you were learning from us, right? Yep. We were teaching you how to train, not specifically, we were talking to the camera, but we were kind of talking to you, me, yeah. So you learned a lot through that, and you were interested in the content at first. But I kept telling you this, and I remember we weren't even really able to pay you much at first either, because it was just like, I kept telling you, I'm like, dude, just stick this out. Especially where this world is going in today's age, like everybody wants content people or somebody that can film and edit photo. I go, you're going to be able to make a lot of money doing what you do, someday, but the thing is, you just got to put the legwork in now. And the thing is like this, we're giving you that trade off of teaching you, maybe even, we're coaching you, you're doing this
training sessions,
the editing part of the things for things you loved, but then that can be applied to anything else, which we are now. Yeah. So I think, especially for these content people that are maybe trying to get into it, maybe start off with something that you really enjoy, right? Yeah. So then that passion's there of like, I'm really interested in, in training. So I'm going to film training to start. And then when it comes more of like, hey, this is a job now. And like, I can make some good money off this doing other things. Then that's when you expand too. Yeah. And I think that's what you've done a really, really good job at it. And you haven't limited yourself either. You're not just like, no, I'll only do training videos. No, you're like, no, that's where my base was. Right. Yeah. And now I'm able to do all these cool things, especially with like the raw stuff where you guys have all seen like our Instagram here. It's just it's beautiful, right? All the creativity, the labeling, the marketing, and you're learning that now, and you're getting up there, man. So it's been beautiful to see unfold.
Yeah, so it's been a lot of fun. It is interesting that you say that. Like when I started filming you guys, I literally felt like I was watching the YouTube video when I was filming it, like for myself, because I'm sitting here watching you do things. Like I never knew what a stretch pause was before I came to you to train. And I probably had more of a background in training than a lot of kids my age, right? Just because of the people I grew up around. It wasn't necessarily bodybuilding specific, but in terms of like understanding the basics and understanding effort and things like that, I was taught when I was younger, because I happened to grow up in an area that was, like the guy I was training with, the guy who in the gym was, huge on those aspects. But I didn't know much about like really bringing the effort and the intensity to bodybuilding. I had no idea what true failure was until I watched y'all train. So I think that was like a learning process, and it's just like you're saying, I didn't get like bored or sidetracked. Like I would come up there to film, and then I would drive back, and as soon as I got back, I would start editing, because like I wanted to watch it, like I really wanted to learn. So that made it easier, because I think if I started with weddings, I wouldn't be here. Right. I definitely would not be doing this right now, because that would bore me to death. Just like, if you started with Pilates, you probably would not be a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
'Cause that wouldn't be who you are, right? But no, that's funny. Okay, this is a good question. When the first training session that I trained with you guys, what were you expecting? Were you expecting like when I don't remember the first time I actually trained with you and Martin.
Right.
But like I was when I don't remember which one of you told me like, oh, do you want to come up and train?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, oh Lord, this is gonna be bad.
Thing is that, yeah. So whenever I'm training with somebody new or something, especially maybe somebody that's a little bit newer in their training journey or lifting journey, bodybuilding journey, whatever you want to call it. The only things, I'm specifically interested in seeing and mainly focused on them performing is, and this now, is the intensity involved in the execution, right? I don't want to see you try to match me. And you've filmed me before where there's people that are trying to like do the same weights as me, or like, are just doing things that they shouldn't be doing, right? Just because it's an ego thing, right? And I hate that because it's like, now you're not only wasting my time, but you're wasting your time, right? I want you to train with me. Yeah, maybe we're not doing the same weights, but I'm here to get better, and the goal is for you to get better too. Yeah. So that was one thing, is like, you understood that. You've never had like an ego like that, when it comes to lifting or anything like that. And that's huge for me. And that's part of the reason why, me and Zach and I still train today. We still get a leg session in every weekend, and then usually another session throughout the week together, just because I can count as him as a good training partner, and he knows how I operate. But that's just a cue for all you guys that kind of want to go, train with somebody else or somebody that maybe has been doing it a while. Leave your ego at the door. Yeah. Just be focused on, I'm gonna watch them. I'm gonna watch them do this exercise, or I'm gonna watch them perform through this training. I'm gonna mimic it, but I'm gonna do it at my pace. And what I mean by my pace is at the weights that I can handle. Yeah. Going to a true failure spot with mechanical failure where the muscles are giving out before you're using throwing your back into it, or your shoulders or your arms. So I think you knew that just from the coaching points we taught through the videos first. And then it came to you. You're like, okay, I got a shot. So, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this right. I'm going to do this for me. And that goes a long ways for me. I'd rather, people are like, oh, your training partners always have to be big, right? I'm like, no, some of my best training partners are not even lifting close to the same weight as me.
60, 80 pounds less than you, for sure.
But they're bringing the same intensity, they're motivating me, because I see, usually I have you go first or something, or I have someone else I'm training with go first, to see them perform, that big top set, or that big variation. Maybe it's a drop set or something. And then I'm like, damn, they killed that, it's not the same load, we'll call it, but it's, I need to take it to that spot too. Right. And so I think that's what the big misconception is like, big guys need to train big guys, things like that. It's like, no, it comes down to, execution and intensity involved. I think that's what I taught you, especially with that. And then it also, we saw that kind of transfer over into real life things too. Yeah, right. Yeah. That's the beautiful thing about this bodybuilding lifestyle is, especially I tell people all the time is, if they're thinking about doing like a prep for a show or something, I'm like, honestly, I think everybody should do one prep, right? Yep. I think everybody should go experience at least one preparation for a diet preparation for a competition. Not so much because of like, the struggle involved, but what it can do to you mentally. Yeah. You know what I mean? And even if you don't make it, if you get back, but at least you like gave it a shot. But what it does for you is it prepares you for almost anything else in life, right? Like I can say going to work a 9-to-5 job is nothing compared to preparing for a professional, bodybuilding job, meaning that what goes on mentally, what goes on physically, how you feel. But that's also why there's such a short duration. You can't do that forever, right? But it carries over, and it makes you apply those things to the other avenues of your life. Be like, hey, this is easy compared to what I've been through before, And so, and that's just, that's huge with me, is people that have been in the trenches, get in the trenches with me, and we've been there before, and we're going to be there again. Yep. And that's what drives us. And I think that's what levels up people. So everybody in this building has been in the trenches, and still are daily. Yep. And that's another reason why we moved down here, is we want to be around that. So let's touch base on that. How about, explain what happened one day. When was that? That probably would have been March. It would have been about a year ago, right? Yeah. So right after the Arnold, probably a couple weeks after the Arnold, a week after the Arnold, I didn't even approach you with anything.
You called me. It's funny.
Was it call or was it in person? I don't remember.
So no, this was, I finished, I was filming. I was driving back through Denver. Okay. Leaving Denver, going back to where I lived. And I remember you called me on the phone and you were like, so like, I've talked to Ivana about this, and basically you told me that you were going to Florida. And then, I'm listening to it and like, I kind of not knew, but like at the Arnold, you and Matt talking and stuff. I don't think y'all had an explicit conversation. Maybe you did. I didn't hear it if you did, but just the vibe I was getting, I was like, maybe he might go down, maybe he might go down there. He might go down there for a period of time, to be around Matt. And you called me and you were telling me that. And originally, like, you proposed to me, maybe you come down for, like, I bring you down for a long weekend or like a week, throughout each month to get content. We batch it and then we post it. Because like you mentioned, and this is another thing too, that is good for videographers and anybody that's looking for one to know, is that you start, depending on what you're filming, but like a full day of eating, if I'm filming a full day of eating, I'm going to be filming you the entire day. Right. Like, I'm in your car, I'm in your house, I'm around, the people that I'm around your dog. Like, it's like, it's a personal thing. So I remember you mentioning like, you didn't really feel like you wanted to try to do that, fill that, role again with another person. Yeah. And at this time I had been in school and it was all online because of COVID. So I remember saying on the phone, I was like, honestly, I'll move down there. Like, I loved Colorado. Don't get me wrong. I loved it. And my brother lived out there, so I was around him. But I mean, that's at the time where like, him and I were probably going to be moving on, in our own directions too, as well. So I was like, this is a good opportunity to go. And I'm sure there will be work down there as well, in addition to what I was doing for you. So I was like, I'll go. And then I remember I had a show in May, and like 4 days after that, I drove across the country, which was crazy. Do not plan a move towards the end of a prep. No. I was procrastinating all of those decisions till later. But no, that was that was a cool, like, I remember that phone call. Like, I even remember where I was.
Yeah, like, and you kind of summarized that pretty quickly there. It was more like, in general, I was more like, hey Zach, I'm pulling the trigger and we're going to move to Florida, going to go down there, be with Raw Revive, be closer to Matt, and kind of buy a house and start a little life down there, maybe start a family. And then instantly you're just like, yeah, I might do that too. That's literally how it went. Like, I was like, wait, what? I'm like, cause I was, I wasn't even going to bring the idea up to you. I don't think I realized at the time that all your classes were online, but you were going to school in Colorado Springs. You were already driving an hour and a half up to Denver to film me in Denver. So I was like, I was kind of just saying almost goodbye at that point, hopefully I can still use you for stuff down the road. But like, you're like, you know what? I think that might be all right. Let's do it. And I'm like, what? So that's literally how it went. And you know what the crazy thing is? Like, he took those steps. I think it was just, the crazy thing is, in my mind, I knew that, like, even when I was telling you that, I wasn't going to ask you, but I knew that this would be the best thing probably for you. Yeah. Just to be, because I knew these doors would open up down here, right? Because we're kind of a community within a community down here. If you get what I'm saying. Like, we're like, this is, to be honest with you guys, like, where we're at is like a bougie retirement community. Yeah,
it is. It really is.
It's a bougie retirement community, and there's about 5 elite bodybuilders and then like 10 elite content creators. Like, that's literally what we're right in the middle of it. Like, people, like, we look like weirdos.
It's like a small conglomerate.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, I knew if you came down here, then, you'd team up with like, a Grant, you could learn from Calvin, and this would not only help, and it wasn't so much, I wasn't worried about like, it's going to help him create better YouTube videos for me. That's not the focus. It was more like, it's going to take his game, level him up, and then also give him, with him leveling up in the content side of things, then it's going to bring him so many different avenues and more windows and more doors to open for your future. So I knew it would be a great thing for you, and you're gun-ho. So it's just like, it was like, I'm happy he's saying this, because it's gonna be great for both of us, and it truly has. Even more so for you, with the announcement of us having a baby. So it's been my focus kind of shifted, obviously more bodybuilding and baby right now. And your focus has been obviously your personal, training behind the scenes, but also now you're working here pretty much full time, right? Yep. So you're here every day. You've created some good friends here within the group. Your girl's down here with you now. You have 3 fur babies at home, and it's like,
I feel like I'm old.
Yeah, right. I've seen you. That's the craziest part, is I've seen you grow up so much, but it's like, You're still. What do you turn next week? 20.
I'll turn 23. And
23 on March 15th.
Yeah.
In 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. Now the whole world. We'll bleep this part out.
No,
Zach doesn't have a birthday.
You can send it to Raw headquarters. Send him a gift. No. So it's only 23. So I hate saying. I mean, I don't hate saying that.
Yeah, it is my Jordan.
You guys
Jordan
call
year.
it a Jordan year, huh?
What do you call it?
I've never even heard of that.
I call it 23.
You call it do you have a? Do you,
Kobe year.
okay.
Oh.
So when does that stop though? 25? That's not. Who's 25? But it's great. Like what I was getting to is like, and I still tell you this every once in a while. I was like, man, I think about what I was doing when I was 23. You know, I was just lost, right? I didn't know what I was doing at that point. I was just, working at the bars and stuff. I was bartending or bar back and all this. No, I was 175 pounds. Like,
Yeah, you got to see baby.
yeah.
Brad.
I was 175 pounds.
Shredded little 175 pound.
Drinking
Brad.
every weekend. And it's just like, and it's great to see like. And I think, I've tried to do my best with there is kind of guiding you a little bit, giving you because, I went through that and I feel like I wasted some years, right? And like, you've done a great job of not wasting any years in your life. You're always working towards something and that's just it's been a thrill to see, man. And, I know the future, especially with the way, like I keep saying this, but the way the world's going with more and more content always in the technological world that we live in, it's just, you're setting yourself up for what I say is you can do whatever you want to do. And you did this without, technically you never really finished college, right?
No, so that's another crazy, like.
We never even finished college, but you've done so much. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I moved down here this summer and I was taking classes and obviously I finished the classes I was in because I paid for them, or I didn't pay for them. Luckily, I had other people do that. But I've taken these classes and I'm sitting here thinking, I'm starting to see the business of media and what you could potentially make, how you could expand and the things you could do. And I'm staring at it and I'm like, this doesn't make, like, if this was an investment, if I was investing into the stock market right now, this is not an investment I would make because my return is nowhere near what it needs to be to invest the amount of money that would be invested to finish school. Or really, even if I knew this, I'm glad I went to school when I was 18 because I think that allowed me to like grow up kind of in a supervised environment at school and stuff like that. Not that I needed it, but it was cool and socially develop and everything. But in terms of like going to school so that you can be successful, most people would say you need to go to college so you can be financially sound, right? Well, that doesn't make any sense to me because if you look at, the top colleges in the nation and how much money you could make from going to them or the averages of what people are bringing in versus how much it costs to go, the math doesn't line up because I don't need a degree to achieve that. I just need a work ethic to learn the skills that I need to know to be successful in the area that I'm trying to be successful in, right? Like, does your degree, because you were what? Some type of like phys ed, right?
I was exercise science. Yeah.
Okay, exercise science. That definitely helps you understand a little bit about bodybuilding.
Right.
But if I had to put my money on it, I would say maybe that's like a 5% versus a 95%. Like you understand the human body, sure, but like you learned more by being around intelligent people, paying attention and putting in your own effort than you probably did from a book.
Yeah, I mean, that was
right?
just general education at the time, right? And then, think about what I did after college, right? I was a home mortgage consultant. I was a business owner of like a meal prep company. So it was nothing I was actually getting a degree for. And we're not saying that don't go to college or whatever, but
Content creator here dropped out of school.
yeah. But if you're going to do entrepreneur things, which, we're all doing, like, is it better to start, not even worry about the college experience and start early? I mean, it's going that way, right?
I think I would base it on like application of effort. Right? If you're not going to apply a lot of effort to school and use that, then maybe you should consider other options. But if you are, then definitely go that. Like, if you want to be a doctor, you have to go to school.
You have to, right? There's some things you have to.
So I decided that school was taking too much of my time and too much of my focus away from things that I'm not going to use. Like, I was a business major. I changed to a physiology and nutrition. And I realized, like, neither one of these things is anything that I really want to do. Yeah. Like, I don't want to be a nutritionist at some big company. And I have no interest in being like a business manager of some business. I would rather do what I want to do with the skills I'm willing to learn. And I think that's like, but that goes back to like what you were saying, and your guidance to me is like, I learned very quickly by watching it. Luckily I grew up with parents who worked very hard too, to achieve what they want. Is if you work hard, you can get where you want to be. You just actually, like, you can't pretend to work hard, if that makes sense. Right. You know, like, people are confused at what that actually means. But like you were saying with the prep, it's 24 hours a day, right? Like, you learn a lot when you can't, there's no letting up. Like, if you're hungry, you have to deal with that. Or if you're tired, you still have things that you have to do. And you start to learn that, okay, maybe this is the same way with editing. I've been editing for 4.5 hours, right? It's now 2 a.m. Well, I don't really want to do this anymore. Or like, you know, at the Arnold, when we were pumping out around your thing, we were pumping out a video every day.
Right.
Right. Okay, I have cardio to do in the morning because I'm on prep, but I have a video to edit right now. This is my job. You don't get cookie points or brownie points for doing your job, right? The goal was shoot a video, edit that night, post the next day. So we just do that. And I started to learn, like, by watching you, like, you're tired and dehydrated and you're still doing what you need to do. Like, I can do what I need to do. And I think that, being around those types of people, it's like, you can't, I mean, either it's going to be in your face if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, because unless you're just going to push it off to the side and pretend like you're doing what you're doing, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, I mean, what I get most from what you're saying is it's the work involved, but then surrounding yourself with people that are hard workers as well, right? Yeah. You know, even if it's not, we're not working on the same thing or types of work, but it's like we're all still grinding, we're all still working, and that's why Raw is doing so well. You know, I keep saying this building's just full of grinders, right? Yeah. You know, and that's what brought me down here is like, you know, I'm a grinder and I want to be around other grinders that will level me up, or I can feed off of, or I can help, you know, myself. And so, you know, if you do that, that's going to be better than, you know, sitting around at a 4-year degree, I think, because you're already starting that work and you're already starting to build towards something. And, you know, luckily, like you kind of learned at a young age that, like, you've learned this, that it's more so the importance of, you know, a lot of it's who you know, and then it's the work involved. Yeah. You know, I came from a family where it was like, you know, you got to go to a 4-year degree, you got to do it, you know. So I went through college and like I didn't enjoy it. You know, I was studying exercise science because that was literally the most interesting thing out of anything that I could do, right? It's just I kind of like, you know, I like to work out, so I want to learn about the muscles.
It's not physics.
So. Yeah, but it was like, I still didn't enjoy it, right? You know, and so it's almost like, looking back, I was like, why did I spend so much, you know, because I went to a private institution, but the thing is, what kept me there, if I wasn't playing, you know, I played collegiate football. If I wasn't playing football, I don't think I would have finished, right? It's just like, and then, you know, parents would look down upon me, maybe look down upon me like, you're not going to be successful now. And that's just kind of the, you know, obviously
that's what I was terrified of.
Yeah, I'm 10 years older than you, so it's kind of a different, now it's not viewed the same as it was back then, but it was like, if you don't go to college and finish, then you're not going to be successable in life. So that was the neat thing. And then I got done and then I didn't even use it, right? Yeah. It's just like, so, you know, I was able to, thing is, I was able to still stay true to the fact that I'm going to work out hard at what I want to do. And what that ended up being was bodybuilding. And, you know, there was times that money wasn't really there, but the work was there. And then now that's where I am today, is where I'm able to, you know, now we travel the world.
Yeah, right? I was about to say, now we that's like, it's crazy to think that it all started from, like, I sent a message and y'all gave me a chance. And the next thing we know, we're like, well, I mean, my first trip to Europe was with you. Yeah. And that was awesome. You know what I mean? So that's really cool that, like, things do come full circle, which is really, it's nice.
And then, but the underlying thing is, man, we worked our ass to get off here, you know, to get here, right? Yep. And, you know, those first 2 years we were together at Armbrust in Denver, you know, people didn't really know who we were or what we were doing, and we just kept chipping away. So it's just consistency, hard work over time. You can apply it to anything, and, you know, in business and in your personal space, and, you know, and that's one thing I continue to, you know, when we have talks and stuff, when they're sitting around the night before a show, just fucking wandering off on talks, we continue to talk about that and reminisce on where we got to. So, yeah, man, it's been a cool journey and something that we're gonna, you know, continue to do here ahead. Like I said, we're going to the Arnold this weekend together and get more content and see all these people. And cool thing is now people, you know, recognize you and and like we're a squad. So back to the Arnold real quick. So
yeah, we got to talk about that.
We got to talk to the Arnold a little bit so we can look back and see how wrong our predictions were or right are. So like I said, we're all going out there to do something with, you know, either with Raw or business related, and I'm actually fortunate enough to be going to the show, so I'm going to watch that and go support Matt and his clients. What do you think? Who do you think is going to be?
I don't know. I just pulled the list up.
Oh, you pulled the list up.
I'll read them out loud just so we have a refresher.
Okay.
So we got Justin Rodriguez.
Okay.
We have Big Ramy, Patrick Moore, Andrew Jack, Samson, Akeem, Bonac, Nick Walker, Kamal, and Sean. So my question to you would be, who's your top 3?
Oh, top 3.
And I'll go first if you need a second to
We'll
think.
let you go first. That's fine if you're ready.
Okay, so I'm thinking that it's going to be, this is in no particular order. We can put them in order after this. Nick, Sean, and Samson. Those are, Nick, Sean, and Andrew Jack. That's going to be that's my top 3. Samson's going to be 4th.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew Jack's been training as hard as they've all been saying these last 8 weeks. I mean, there's definitely a possibility. I think he's got the most genetic freak factor out of anybody there. Him and Samson for sure. Just their rate of improvement. So that'll be really good. I'm actually kind of leaning a little bit more towards Ramy coming back better.
Yeah.
I mean, he still got 5th there at the Olympia, and it was a disappointment and stuff. But like, I think the only reason he would do this is just because he knows he's able to improve. I would hope. So the thing is, it's either gonna be, hey, I'm back, or hey, I'm done. So like, this is a big show for him. So I have Nick winning as well. I think this is Nick's show. I think. Coming off of a 3rd place finish you're the favorite. He's only gotten, I think, a little bit better. So I have Nick in 1st. I actually have Ramy. I'm gonna have him building his way back up to 2nd. Actually, yeah, okay. I have him 2nd. Just because I think this is kind of a do or die situation, and they're gonna take care of business in that regards. But with that, then I had to make the decision, having Ramy come back up, I actually had to move Sean back because I just think
they look too different.
Yes, and I love Sean, man. Sean's my dude, and I honestly think Sean's probably the best bodybuilder on the planet when it comes to just looking at a bodybuilder, when it comes to proportions, conditioning, lean, symmetry, everything. I think he's the best, but it's just the height factor and the overall weight factor, right?
Yeah.
Being 5'1", on a good day, 185 pounds he's going to be standing next to Ramy, who's 5'10", 300, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's just going to look so weird. It's going to look so weird in that lineup. That's going to he's still going to, I think, do well, 4th or 5th, going to push him back a little bit. But then with that, I think I'm probably going to have Samson in 3rd. So I'm going to go Nick, Ramy, Samson, then probably Andrew Jack, and then Sean.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. And nothing against Sean. Like you said, I think he's actually my favorite bodybuilder other than obviously you. But no, I think Sean he's just the way he looks, it's insane. And I think that's going to help him. But like you were saying, between Andrew Jack, Samson, and Big Ramy, those are a bunch of big guys. Nick too, obviously, but I think Nick's going to win the show.
Yeah.
And they're huge. So yeah, that's the group of individuals that could make it kind of.
They're gonna have 100 pounds, and everybody's gonna be like, "Well, Sean beat Sergio Oliva and Regan at that open show last year." I'm like, yeah, but
I was at that show.
Yeah, those weren't Andrew Jack at 280 and Samson at 280 and Big Ramy at 300 in good shape, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a little different. So I'm excited. I mean. Realistically, I would love to see Sean and Nick, being Matt Jansen guys and being, good dudes overall. I'd love to see them battling out top 2. But I'm just excited. We get to be there and enjoy the weekend. And, because last year we didn't really get to enjoy the Arnold with me competing. It just kind of flew by, right?
Go.
Yeah, it was just, we had a great time, but it was intense. So this will slow down a little bit. We're going to enjoy the show, watch all of it instead of, just being worried about obviously competing. So it'll be good. It'll be really, really good. And we're going to get some good content, with everybody there and spread it out.
Yeah, 100%. Do you need to restart those? Oh, okay. So with the rest of the lineup, my question would be,
Who's last?
no, I'm not asking that one. Won't put you on the spot. But we haven't seen Justin, we haven't seen Patrick, and we haven't seen Akeem in a second. If I remember correctly, at least I have not.
Yeah.
What do you think is coming from them? Do you expect anything crazy?
No, I mean, they could even be improved and they're going to look great. Those are still, especially Akeem and Justin, they prove themselves over and over. You know what I mean? They're gonna be solid, but it's just I think there's just a different level of those guys in the top 5, right?
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's the difference between top 10 Olympians right there, because I mean there's 6 out of the top 10 Olympians are going to be there. So, you know, you got that right there. Yep. And then kind of that second wave of guys that are 10 through 20, which is still very, very good, but there's just, you know, structurally and genetically, they're not there, right? And then Kamal, yeah, I mean, he'll be towards the end, I think, too, just because of size-wise and everything and structure and everything like that, too. But from first, I mean, I think from first to last, it's going to be probably one of the better shows we've seen in a while, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, like, I feel like last year, even at the Arnold, there was kind of a fall off there towards the end with a few, you know, I mean, I'm not going to name any names or anything, but, like, this year, it's like all these guys are studs, so it's going to be really good.
So next question would be, do you have who do you have winning the Classic?
Oh, there we go. The Classic. And Chris isn't competing, right?
No, Chris is an Olympia guy right now.
He's doing the Open? Is that what I heard?
Yeah, he's doing Open, actually.
He's doing the Open next year. You guys heard it here first. 2024
Arnold Classic.
Arnold Classic. Chris will be there, so get your tickets. No, so I think it's Ramon's to lose. I think there was enough separation. You know, at the Olympia, I had Urs in second to. Not after watching, but before the Olympia, I thought it was going to be a Chris versus Urs show, but then it ended up being a Chris and Ramon, and I think like those two just were leaps ahead of third. You know what I mean? Third, fourth, fifth, and you know they just kind of separated themselves. And that's why they kept doing the top 2 call outs, because they were just a little bit that much better than everybody else. So I don't, you know, as long as he's had a good last 8 to 10 weeks or whatever it's been, there's no reason why he shouldn't be there, you know, winning that show, right? And so, you know, I think Urs will be up there too with him. You know, that'll be a good 1-2 battle. Urs is never really off. I think he just needs more time. You know, bring up some things. But
can't be off if you're peeled all year.
Yeah, he's just always looks good. He just needs to he'll just need to bring up a few things in the future, and that'll come with muscle maturity. But yeah, it'll be great. I think Arnold does a really good job of, you know, really showcasing these guys too, because they have like, is it a $50,000 like posing, best poser award and stuff. So it's like you see some great routines, some great, you know, back into the fluidity and the artistic values of bodybuilding and classic physique, and you know that it's going to be. I'm really excited to watch the Classic just as much as the bodybuilding too.
How old is Urs?
He's like 23, 24.
He's your age.
Yeah.
Well, I'm 22. Let me look. Let's see what yours is.
For a few more weeks.
Yeah, I'm holding on to that until. Doesn't say in his bio.
No, he's young. He's for sure young.
Yeah.
I don't know about Ramon though. I have no idea. No.
I bet he's not 30. He's probably mid late 20s.
I think he's late 20s.
Late 20s.
You're gonna have some Brazilians mad at you, man.
Yeah, you don't want to turn the whole Dino army against you.
He's calling him old. No.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's gonna be exciting, and like you said, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun to go. One, get some content with the guys that I know that you're gonna be meeting up with, so that'll be good for everybody to see.
Yeah.
And then obviously just seeing the city and just seeing like the Arnold, but like from the outside perspective,
Yeah.
not.
We're going to the expo.
Yeah, the expo, that'll be fun. I've never been there.
We gotta go to the expo with you.
I've never been to the expo.
I gotta work a little bit, but yeah, it's gonna be a good time.
You gonna wear the apron again?
No, I'm not. I'm working for Gasman Better Body stuff. Not wearing an apron again.
No apron.
So with that, you know, that'll be this week, and then what do you have going on the rest of the year here?
Hopefully we'll start a prep at some point.
Yeah.
Get ready for a show. That'll be fun because I'm not like an infant child like I was at my last show at least. So maybe I'll break 190 on stage.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
No more Hooey Magoos.
Yeah, no Hooey Magoos, not on prep. Yeah, no, I think that's probably like the biggest thing that I have going, other than like trying to expand business and just continuing to do that. I mean, and blow the company up. Like we're having a lot of fun. Like the one thing that has been cool is like the longer I've been here, especially with Calvin and Grant and AJ and Louie and Sebastian, and Sarah too, we've all developed kind of a dynamic to where we're starting to really be more efficient with our workflow, understand one another better, our strengths, weaknesses, and just like being a more efficient team.
Right.
which is fun. So I think continuing to do that and expand is the goal for us.
Yeah, and I think that, from my viewpoint, obviously, I look a little bit more from the outside in on you guys. I'm not here daily, right? It seems like, especially getting over to this new place, like now, I feel like roles are very much getting more figured out, right? And like it's getting a little bit more fluid on who's doing this, who's doing that, who's doing this, instead of like, tripping over each other's feet trying to do things. So it's like that's just going to continue for you guys this year, and it's going to be fun to see unfold. And I'm sure we'll do a few events this year, and you'll probably be included. Last year we went to like New York and then a couple other spots, but those were always really fun trips. Miami was fun. So now you can. What is?
Yeah, we're gonna have a Raw event in June.
Here?
It's going to be in Orlando.
Orlando, okay, yeah. So Orlando in June. So yeah, we get look forward to those things, and then for you and I specifically,
Film the first Olympia.
Getting ready for the first Olympia. So just pumping that stuff out. So yeah, we're in a great spot down here. It's our little oasis, I call it. Like I said, the community.
Oh, and we get to meet Baby Wilkin. We can't leave that out.
Hell yeah,
that's the biggest thing. Yeah,
that's soon. That's really soon.
That's the biggest event this year by far.
Well, yeah, for me. For changing dirty diapers, I'll make sure to FaceTime you guys at 3 a.m.
Yeah, great. Screen
FaceTime
record,
you
throw that
on
in an
this-
episode. That's our YouTube shorts of Brett just changing baby diapers.
I'll send you guys pictures of blowouts on the backside.
Great. Yeah, speed change. That'll be a challenge. We got to get a baby doll, like a mock baby doll, and have you speed wrap it. See how fast you can.
Just prank Ivana with it.
What are we going to prank her with?
Like, so once the baby's here, you get like a baby doll, and it's in the crib. And be like, oh, can you go check on the baby? And it's a doll.
I think it's a horrible idea.
Just a reaction.
I don't think you should ever mess with a mother like that.
No, man. You
haven't been around. You
You're
haven't
gonna
been
get
around.
hurt.
You haven't
You're
been
gonna get
around the
hurt.
hormones enough, have you?
Yeah. No, that's.
No, we did. So when I was in Colorado last week, we did this. Like they had us do this game where who could change the diaper faster, and it was 2 dolls.
Who won?
She won, obviously, but like I was like pulling the baby like the hair through the. Like, I was like, this is a race. I was like throwing the baby around, and then she got done. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, obviously, I'm gonna be slower when it's real."
Yeah. I'll be very gentle.
I'll be very gentle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's funny. But yeah, that's exciting. That'll definitely be a cool, like you said, I think that'll be a motivating factor going to the prep. I'm also excited for your prep for the O because there's always good, fun training sessions.
Right. And, I think last year, especially, like I said, we prepped here and got ready for that Romanian Spain show, and I ended up winning the Spain show. And it was one of my better preps, right? But, like, now I feel a lot more comfortable because that was kind of, like, rushed into it. I felt, we never got a true off season here. We kind of just went into the prep because I wanted to do it before the year ended so we could try to have a baby this year. And so, fortunately, everything worked out. I actually got the baby started coming during prep, so got blessed with that. And so now I can really, like I said, we have 8 months ahead of us here, just down here, working, grinding, being around these people. It's going to be a really successful year, for everybody. So,
Looking forward to it.
hell yeah. So, all right, I think that's kind of good for today. Kind of covers. I wanted to, like I said, get on here while I'm here. I'll be back for some more, but also introduce you guys more to Zach. He's a big part of Raw here behind the scenes now. And he's here, he's here for the haul. So we'll see a lot of good things come from him, and we're going to see a lot of great things for all of us this year. Yeah. So I know I appreciate you, and the Raw community appreciates you. And we'll wrap up on that. So till next time, we'll see you guys in a few weeks. Peace out.
Peace. You look tired over there, Mr. Romer. He missed leg session this morning because he got sick smoking last night.
You got what?
I got 6 smoking last night.
You got
You gotta come over. We gotta Chris.